Hello and welcome back again. We're now on books 9 and 10 of the Circle of Three. 9 through the Veil, 10 making the Saint. So this brings us about 2/3 through the series now. Only a few videos left in this. And I like both of these actually. They're both really nice, especially in continuity. Let's take a look at these. Book 9 through the Veil occurs in October, through the month of October. And all three girls, the ones on the cover, again, they're all on the cover this time. I think this might be the first time since In the Dreaming, I want to say. And all three of them have significant storylines in this one. So Kate has some fallout from the previous book. Her father was very angry. She went to this town meeting. In fact, accused Cooper's father of being a bad influence on his daughter. And at this point, Kate is not really being allowed to go anywhere except for school. Not allowed to see Tyler, her boyfriend. Basically shut in at this point. So what's happening here is that Kate's parents keep talking about how Wicca is supposed to be dangerous. She shouldn't get involved in it, etc., etc. Same kind of stuff from the previous book. And eventually, Kate and her therapist, the parents and Kate and the therapist all talk together. And what essentially comes to happen is that the therapist suggests that Kate take her parents to one of the Wicca rituals. I'm going to show them what it's like. Her father, Kate's father, is very, he doesn't really care about it. But her mother, Kate's mother, is more on the fence. She saw how much her sister, Aunt Nettie, Kate's Aunt Nettie, benefited from these people. And so she kind of goes along with it. So they eventually decide to actually go through with it. Toward the end of this book, it happens. It's a Samhain ritual. That's the name for Halloween, Samhain, Samhain. And this is a ritual in which people go through in costumes. How they set this up in costumes to either a room with a tarot reading or a room with a bunch of mirrors. And at the end of this, Kate's parents essentially, they're still against the concept, but they're going to allow Kate to actually attend Wicca sessions by the end of this, which is nice for her. The other two, Cooper and Annie, also have stuff happening. Annie, who the title is supposed to be referencing, Through the Veil, is talking about the veil between worlds. It's supposed to be very thin near Halloween. And so what happened with Annie, Annie and her aunt Sarah go to San Francisco to see their old house. And they do this. Annie initially goes to find the house by herself. Some people have moved in there. An author, conveniently, that she likes. She looks around the house, and something that's been happening with Annie, she's been hearing voices. And in hearing these voices, Annie's not sure what they are. Eventually, she thinks they're her parents' voices, and that they're angry at her for some reason. They keep calling her name, yelling a lot, and she's very scared of it. There's a number of different events, some people they meet, some interesting people they meet, relate to this whole process, which I won't describe because it's kind of a unique thing going on. But toward the end of this, and this is something about the book I don't like, is how they handle this at the end. I won't exactly say what happens because this is like the very end of the book, but uh, it's certainly consistent. It's consistent with stuff from previous books, but it's a little bit, I think, too, I want to say on the nose, but that's not quite the right way of saying it. It's a bit too just there. It's just a thing happens, and it's very, very direct in how it happens. And it's almost kind of, it's almost too convenient. It's like not almost, it really just feels too convenient, I think. Um, Although it's also consistent at the same time, so I don't know if I can really complain about it. I was just hoping it would be a bit more subtle, but it was very unsubtle in what happened. Um, Such happens with Annie. With Cooper, she also has a bit of change happening in her life. Not so dramatic, but still a change. Well, actually, some big changes, actually, now I think of it. One of them is dramatic. So one is Cooper's band is kind of feeling not in the spirit of going along with all of her witch songs. I think because of just a creative direction thing. They're not specifically in love with the witch thing. They're not against it, but they're not really wanting it to be the one particular direction of the band. And this culminates in Cooper separating from the band amicably. Her boyfriend and two other bandmates are still in the band. Cooper separates from them, although she's still with TJ, her boyfriend. They don't separate or anything. They're still doing stuff together. And this leads Cooper to finding a possible new bandmate, Jane, who also plays the guitar. Going along with this, Cooper's parents divorce. They say that they've just been growing apart. They're not really in love anymore, and they're just separated. Cooper's pretty hurt by this, but she's handling it very maturely. She's not really, she understands it's not about her, it's just about her parents, although it doesn't make it really easy for her. And that's what happens to all three girls in this book. A lot of changes happening, more looking up for Kate, some resolution for Annie, and a lot of changes for Cooper. This all leads up into the next book, book 10, Making the Saint. Everything from the previous book follows up in Making the Saint. So starting off Making the Saint, Kate is allowed now to go back to Wicca classes, although she's not allowed to see Tyler yet. She sees him briefly at Wicca classes, but not otherwise. And everyone in the Wicca class gets an assignment that for a while, they'll each look at a different kind of pagan religion, research it, and try and understand it. Cooper gets Celtic shamanism, harkening back to her bad experience in the dreaming. Annie gets Ausatru, which is the Nordic neo-paganism. And Kate gets Santeria, I think that's how it's pronounced, I think, which is basically an African religion that was that incorporates saints as analogs of the gods of that African religion. We don't really see a lot of Cooper and Annie's religions, Celtic shamanism and Nordic Ausatru. A bit unfortunate, but I guess the book can only be so long. Although I was interested in exploring Cooper's interaction with Celtic shamanism, but maybe that'll be in another book in the future. I'm hoping. We focus really on Kate and her, what she's doing. So she goes to this Santeria, they call it Botanica, kind of a place where they sell Santeria stuff. And Kate and the girls go to a Santeria ritual in which apparently a thing in Santeria is when they do these rituals, the gods go into the people at the ritual. They manifest inside people and interact with people at the ritual. One of these events is that one of the gods, I think it's Ogun, is there, and whoever is possessing Ogun, or whoever Ogun is inside of him, identifies Kate as someone they favor, and this eventually leads to Kate asking Ogun for some help. Now, help for what? I'll get to that in just a second. Actually, to get to it right next, I guess, was what's happening with Annie. So Annie, her big thing is that she's been hanging out with Tyler a lot because Tyler hasn't been with Kate, but through Annie, he can kind of get information to Kate, etc. And Annie and Tyler have been growing close. So this has been hinted at in the previous book, book 9, but it grows more here. And what really was very interesting about this is that Annie and Tyler starts spontaneously kissing each other. They're falling for each other. I think because Tyler's been separated from Kate, his emotions about Kate have nowhere to go. So they're latching on to Annie because Annie apparently is kind of the girl that Tyler would have dated, more her type, although he still likes Kate. And Annie has similar feelings, I think, from her breakup from her first boyfriend, not having anywhere to go. Those just latch on to Tyler. And they both feel very guilty about this. They don't like what they're doing. And this kind of culminates toward the end where Kate finds out and asks Ogun for help in a certain way that is very interesting. I didn't think she would do this kind of thing, which I won't spoil because it's kind of an interesting way to end up in this up. And this comes to a resolution toward the end. I think a very reasonable resolution with how the plot line went. I'm kind of glad the characters went to the resolution in this way. I think it was like a way that really showed the character growth, as well as ending up this plot line. With Cooper, we have the continuance of her parents' divorce. Her father has left the house, got his own place. It's not really a very messy divorce. It's very, they both seem to understand, the parents seem to understand they should be separate. They agree on that. No one's really in the wrong with this, it's just they grew apart. And something that happens is that a small bit of the Celtic shamanism that Cooper's exploring happens, where she and Jane, the person she met from the previous book, the guitarist, they do a little ritual, a meditation ritual, where she tries to find her familiar, her spirit animal. And when Cooper does this, she finds Bird, the book from the girl from In the Dreaming, which was a very interesting connection. And Bird turns into an owl and says that she'll help Cooper if Cooper knows how to look for her. After this, Jane's grandfather, who is a Holocaust survivor, talks to Cooper a couple of times. He's very shy of people. He talks to Cooper a couple of times saying he dreamed of her in a concentration camp he remembers from when he was in one in World War II. And Cooper asks him for help. And he gives her advice, not knowing why she needs help, relating to his experiences in the camp, to not let go of love and hope and try to find love and use that to solve her problems. And this leads to Cooper using this with her parents, trying to keep close to them through this divorce. That's kind of everything happening in book 10. A great continuance, I think, from book 9. I like how closely linked they were while still being a new plotline, interesting new concepts. And that's just rehashing stuff from book 9. Really enjoyed it. This and book 9 are very good, paired well. Glad I read them very close together. And This brings us 2/3 of the way through the series. Just 5 books left. I'll be doing 3 more of these videos on books 11, 12, 13, 14, and 1, resolution 1 for book 15. So until next time, take care, and I hope these reviews are leading people to realize that these are actually books and maybe try them out and discover them for themselves. That's it. So hope you're enjoying this, and see you next week, or in 2 weeks maybe.